Hello! Welcome to Unboxing Alyss, the YouTube channel with that purple fox that unboxes things. I don't have anything physical for this video, so I'm just gonna do this. I'm, of course, Alistair Frost, and today I'm going to be talking about Ciderfest, a My Little Pony convention that occurs in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it occurred on, I believe, the 17th through the 19th of November. So, like, 2 weeks ago. It is currently December 4th today. On Monday, I took off today because I'm dead. And I actually just came back from Midwest Fur Fest this past weekend. Like, not even, like, it's been literally 24 hours since I left that con. So I am tired and dying and trying to catch up with myself right now. But I needed to shoot this video for, this Friday. So this is where I am. I haven't even cleaned this suit since Fur Fest because I haven't had time. There's also no point in cleaning this because I'm going to use it for this video. So if you can see, I don't know if you'll see it, but it'll look gross. My feet paws are very dirty, especially around the white ends. It was raining all weekend, so, and I had to walk outside. But yeah, that's Midwest Fur Fest is January. We are talking about Ponyville Ciderfest, and that journey will start on, I believe, the 16th of November, which is Thursday. Oh man, I couldn't sleep. I was super excited for that and for another thing, which I'll get into in 2 seconds. So I didn't have a lot of sleep. I decided to flex my time that day because I was still working from home, but I was still working. So I actually woke up at 6 a.m. I normally work from 8 to 4:30. So that day I worked from 6 to 2:30. I had, thankfully, a light work schedule. I didn't have a ton to do for work, so I was able to do some packing and things like that. There was also, like, around lunchtime, they came out with it wasn't lunchtime, it was before this that they came out with it, but if you'll remember my Steam Deck video, the handheld personal, gaming computer thingy, they came out with a mid-tier, like a mid-generation upgrade called the Steam Deck OLED. And I was like, oh, what is this? I hadn't heard of it until the Steam Deck subreddit. But I, read about it and I saw videos and, reviews and whatnot. I was like, oh my god, this looks amazing. I decided I want this, despite the fact that I don't have money for it. So part of that day, like at noon, that went live, and the number of orders crashed their system. So that was an extra, like, half an hour that I had to devote to the Steam Deck OLED. By the way, I love it. It basically fixed the few things that were wrong with the Steam Deck, but I don't have time to do a whole video on it. Just YouTube, search Steam Deck OLED if you want to know the differences between the original LCDs and the OLEDs. I just don't have time to do a video for that. I will say I do love it, and I'm going to be selling my LCD. But anyway, that took time, and packing took time because I got everything all packed, and then I realized, crap, I forgot stuff. Like Starlight, who is down here. You'll probably see some of the Build-A-Bear My Little Ponies, the main six, and Spiker over there. Starlight's down here. Gallus is over here. He's obviously not a Build-A-Bear. He's actually a plush I made myself. Discord is falling off of my neck, but he also was something I made. Come here, Discord. Stay on my deck, darn it. Over here is Akina. You've seen her before. She is one of my OCs. This is kind of like a random pony that Choly Knight made. She makes a lot of the patterns I use. And she just made this cute Cuddle plush pony. I'm actually going to be using it to make a plush for a friend of mine. This just happened. This lives on this chair anyway, so I just let it stay out here. But anyway, got everything packed. And then forgot Starlight because Kelly Sheridan, who voices Starlight, was going to be at this convention. I was like, crap. I was going to get an autograph, so I had to unpack and get another suitcase. And it was just chaos. We got out late because of me, because of course we did. And it is a 4-hour drive from central Illinois here. But I went with my friend Iona. We were meeting two other friends, Sailor Texas and Kei-chan. They went together, and Sailor Texas was actually a vendor. Her store is called the Crystal Nitwit, and she was selling, I'm giving up on Discord. Where are you, Discord? I don't know where he went. I will show pictures close up of him. He's going to sit on my lap now because he just doesn't want to be around my neck, which that sounds like Discord. But anyway, so we met them up there, and we just had a good conversation talking about a bunch of random, myself and Iona, because Iona was driving with me. Iona is male, by the way. His character is female, but he is very much male. So we drove up and got there probably around like 8 because, again, I'm stupid, and I got behind, and I held us up. But we were able to check in, and pardon me if I adjust my head. You guys know the deal. You know why I do this. This is not a comfortable head, unfortunately. I had to do a lot of that during Ciderfest. Well, the few times I was wearing this during Ciderfest, as well as MFF. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm really tired. I did notice in the last video the fan. You could hear it. I didn't have time to reshoot the video. Most of these videos are just one shots. I don't really have time to redo them. That one wasn't too bad, but just to make sure it doesn't happen again, the fan is off. I'm not going to use the fan in these videos anymore. So yeah, hopefully you're not going to hear that noise, but you might hear me die instead. But going back to Thursday, got there probably around 8, checked in at the Hilton Milwaukee. Not my best, or not my favorite hotel, honestly. We go into this hotel and the refrigerator isn't really clean, which was kind of gross. Some of the surfaces weren't clean, so I let the front desk know about that, and they went up and supposedly they did clean them. I did see a difference later on. And the night before, I'm skipping ahead, but just regarding cleanliness of our room, the night before we left, I found several stains on my bed sheets. I hadn't seen them before that night, and that's also really gross. So yeah, I'm not happy about that, and thankfully, I think Ponyville Ciderfest is going to return to the hotel that their first year was at. So we won't be, I don't think we'll be staying at the Hilton again, which is just fine with me. I didn't really care for it. But we get there, we check in. We're both really hungry, so we just go to the bar. There were several restaurants in the hotel, and one was ungodly expensive, so we're not going to be eating there. I think we went to like the Miller Pub or something like that, and K-chan and Sailor Texas wanted to talk to us. Iona's badge was actually through Sailor Texas, who is the vendor. Each vendor, I believe, gets 2 badges, so obviously one for herself and then one for a helper. And so she gave that to Iona. K-chan got one of the big fancy sponsor tiers, and I got a Spike sponsor tier, so we're good. But to help Iona with funding this con, Sailor Texas gave him one of her vendor badges. So he got that from her. I had to get my own badge. I went ahead and got that. It wasn't too big of a deal. There were people standing like in the badge line, but they had their badges. They're just standing talking, which, cool, glad you're catching up. Do it over there. Do it over there when I'm not trying to get my badge. But I get it. It's not too big of a deal. For the love of all that is holy, it is not Midwest Fur Fest, and I will cover that in that video in the first half of January. So we get that, and we go down to the Miller Pub. I go ahead and order food. I'm just going to wait for it. Sailor Texas and K-chan wanted to talk to both of us, but Iona just went up to kind of get that started, and I waited for the food. I waited for a very, very long time for this food. I just got an Impossible Burger. I will put a picture of my food up here. Impossible Burger and fries, pretty basic. And I go up there, and we have some discussion, just talk about some things, talk about the con, when Iona's going to meet Sailor down to help her with the vendor table. I did forget we did meet with her right when we got there because Iona had to get his badge, and Sailor Texas was setting up. She sells, almost a crochet, knitted scarves, and she's got scarves of like every character from the My Little Pony G4 franchise, in addition to some Pokemon stuff, some Avatar, stuff. They're all scarves, just different. What do you call it? Different themes. That's what I want. I can't right now with my brain. It's just not working. But while we were down there, I also gave her my thorax pins. If you remember my Ponytail Pride campaign video, I told you I had 10 of those thorax pins because I sponsored that tier. I gave those to Sailor Texas. She's going to go ahead and sell those at her table. Thank you very much, Sailor Texas. I don't know why I'm pointing toward the sky. She's not, no longer with us. She's down in St. Louis right now. We're probably at work. So I just, thank you, Sailor Texas. And I did end up selling 4, though, so yay. But we did go back up and talk to them a little bit. Did break later that night just so we could eat, and we were both working, myself and Iona, we're both working on projects. He's gotten into like the perler bead sprites. I actually have an example of what that looks like. There we go. Let's move this badge the way. This is a perler bead sprite, or like a perler bead type of art. This is obviously Akina, who is hopefully still over here and I didn't knock her over, but this is just her face. But a lot of them have the whole body. I have the I have the main six, and I think DJ for some reason over there on my refrigerator. I probably should have brought them over to show you, but these are what perler beads are, and this is the kind of art you can make with them. He's been getting into that a lot, and he made a few little tiny ponies to give away if people buy like certain scarves. So that was really cute. I was working on Discord. I have been working on him nonstop for 3 weeks. No, I'm sorry, 2 months. I was working on something else, and I didn't need to finish that for Ciderfest anymore, so I moved on to Discord. I had gotten all of them done except for the fur bits, so I just took those parts with me, and we were frantically, him ironing and me sewing in the hotel that Thursday night, trying to get our stuff done. I just wanted to walk around with him. I was really proud of him. There are so many issues with this plush. The biggest one that you can see, I'm sure, is the fact that his body is badly twisted. I don't know why that is. Choly herself said that is something that happens when you make really long plushies like this, and he is supposed to be a neck pillow, so next time I go on a plane, he'll be my pillow. His fur is going the wrong direction here, too. His horns are too big. There's a lot of things wrong with this plush. I think he came out pretty well, though. I'm very proud of him. He is my Discord 1.0. I do want to make another one of him. I also want to make an OC Draconiquist. That's the type of species he is. I want to make my own Draconiquist character and make a neck pillow of her. But anywho, that was Thursday night. I was just frantically working on sewing projects and messing with the My Little Pony game event. I think it was a brand new event that we both had to keep up on, so I was kind of helping him with that. I actually set alarms in the middle of the night. That's something I do anyway with new events. And he's like, no, I'm fine with that. Go ahead and do that. That way I might actually get the final prize at the end. So that was Thursday. Friday, I went to the gym. As crazy as that sounds, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this in my other con videos, I do go to the gym while I'm at conventions, usually Fridays and Saturdays. Sunday, when I'm home Sunday, I don't go to a gym anyway. So Sunday's kind of my rest day. It's usually the day we're checking out of the hotel and all of that, so I usually don't go to the gym. But I did go Friday morning. We had a bit of time before everything started. I believe like the fancy sponsors, not me, were able to go into the dealer hall at like 10 or 10:30, something like that, maybe. So I only had to go down there to help Sailor Texas with that. I, stayed in the room. I ate, well, I didn't eat. I drank a protein shake and had like an apple, banana, whatever. And then I went down at 11 to the dealer hall. And there were a lot of really great artists. I'm not going to name every single artist in there. A few will be named because I encounter them in other spaces besides the dealer's den. Or I just talked to them for a long flipping amount of time, so I will bring them up. But there were a lot of good, dealers there. Well, we'll say vendors. A lot of them are artists. But with My Little Pony, it doesn't really matter. They're all just vendors. As opposed to like a furry convention or especially an anime convention, dealers and artists tend to be separate. Though I will say with MFF, there were a lot of artists in the dealer's den. I'm not sure. Maybe they just wanted more space. I don't know how that works. I've never been a dealer. Or I've never been an artist, at a convention. Well, not for a long time. With anime, for sure, it is very much artists. Like, you made it yourself. Versus dealer, which is like the pre-made figurines and plushies and Blu-ray or manga, all that. That's the main difference. So this was just vendor hall. Not super huge, but a lot of good, vendors. And I had a lot of things I wanted, and I definitely couldn't afford all of them. So what I kind of did was write down what I wanted, how much it cost, and who was by, so I could find them later. And I was hoping to go back through and clean, buy, go home or go to the hotel, figure out what everything costs, and compare it to my budget, see what I could afford, then go back and buy everything. That did kind of end up happening. It just ended up happening on Sunday, which is not the best plan, and I'll get to that. But after going through the vendor hall, there were some panels that I'd written down. I am not going to them. I decided to go to the autograph session. I did want an autograph from Kelly Sheridan. Again, she did Starlight's voice. She did a bunch of other characters in the show as well. But Starlight is the one I have a plush of. So, as you can see, Kelly Sheridan signed her leg right there. It is fantastic and beautiful, and I love it. Issue was, sorry, Starlight, if you fall down, I can't tell if you did or not. The issue is I needed an autograph voucher, which I now, in hindsight, know I should have bought online beforehand because you could only buy them at the con store, and the con store had the world's longest line. That took forever. So I had to be in that line. I also pre-ordered a plushie of one of their mascots called Fizzy Glitch. I almost put her down here. She's not going to stand on this because she's standing kind of like Starlight is. But I will show you her in the next video because she counts as merch that I got. So I pre-ordered her when I got my badge. So she was just a pickup, and that line was significantly shorter. Like if you were just pickuping, if you're picking up things you like pre-registered or like pre-ordered, that line was over there. Whereas the main you're buying new stuff is over here. And it wasn't until I was like halfway through the line where they said, oh, by the way, if you pre-order something, go here. Which, again, I'm buying an autograph voucher, and I ended up buying some con merch, so I have to be in the main line anyway. But for those of us who were just there, or for those who were just trying to pick up pre-orders, they spent like 20 minutes in a line they didn't need to be in. They could have just gone over there and said, hey, my name is Steve. I ordered X. Here is proof. Here is your X. That's all it would have taken. So I wish that had been organized a bit better. Another thing I also thought was odd was their opening ceremonies was the same time as the opening of the vendor hall, which most cons will have the opening ceremonies first, beyond like opening registration, con-ups, things like that. And then maybe an hour or two later, they will have opening for the vendor halls, because if they're open at the same time, people are probably going to go to the vendor halls first. And they did. And I forgot to mention that the vendor hall's in a tiny room, and rooms have capacity limits. So they actually had people, they had a line for the vendor hall, and they could only let in a certain amount of people because of capacity limits. With MFF, they actually had the same thing for their artist alley. For their dealer hall, no, you just, as long as you had your badge on, you could walk right in. But for artists, yeah, they had the same thing, because just these rooms are really small, and they cannot go past that capacity. That's a fire hazard. So that kind of sucked. Eventually, they did have that line. When I first went in at 11, they didn't have the line, because I just walked in. But later on, especially on Saturday when I had my suit on, there was a line, and it was a bit of a wait. But anyway, going back to the con stores line, I bought my stuff, I bought the autograph voucher, and I immediately went to the autograph session, which was at 2. I think I was in the vendor hall until maybe like 1:50, because Sailor Texas and K-chan were both going to get their autographs. They had autograph vouchers as part of their, well, I think Sailor Texas wanted to get one of the higher sponsor tiers, but she also wanted to be a vendor, and at the time when those things were selling out, she didn't know if she was going to be a vendor or not. Luckily, she did become a vendor, but I don't think that includes like autograph vouchers or anything, so I think she had to get those separately. For K-chan, the autograph vouchers came with her tier, so she was good to go. And they went before me. But when I saw them in the vendor hall, they were saying, "Oh yeah, we're about to go get in line to see Kelly Sheridan." And so I said, "Oh yeah, I'll meet you later. I need to go buy my autograph voucher first." So I just did that, and I was in that line for probably like 30 minutes at least, and it sucked. Then I go to the autograph line, and oh my god, that line also sucked very, very heavily. It was, I think I ended up getting there at like 2:45. I was like, crap. Because when I thought I was fine until I saw that line, I was like, oh my god, I am not going to get to see Kelly Sheridan. But I got in line anyway. That was at least a 45-minute wait. I'm not even joking. My feet were killing me at that point. And first, if you didn't want to see Kelly Sheridan, you could have walked in, honestly. I feel bad for the other VAs, and I think one guy was like a writer or producer or something maybe for the show, but they had much shorter lines. Everyone wanted to see Kelly Sheridan because a lot of people like Starlight. So I had to wait in line. We're like, hey, if you want to see such and such, okay, walk right in, go, do the thing. Or if you were a person that had vouchers for everybody, then you could go ahead and walk in, because you could start with the others and then you'll end at Kelly Sheridan. But as you saw, I was able to see her that Friday. They went way past the 2 p.m. mark. I don't know when they closed the autographs on Friday. I feel bad for the voice actors, especially Kelly, because she didn't get to go anywhere. She just had to sit there. But I did appreciate that. But after that, I went up in the room and died. I got another protein shake, and I rested a little bit. At one point, we did go get dinner. All four of us went, and I think it was the Avenue Bar and Grill. So it was just like a walk, maybe a block away from the hotel. They were thinking of doing the Miller Pub, but they know that Iona and I did that the night before. So went to the Avenue Bar and Grill, had some pretty good food. I just had a regular burger this time, no, Impossible Burger, and I did take a picture of that. I also took a picture of Sailor Texas's like pork pulled pork macaroni something. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. It also made me gain 20 pounds just by looking at it, but it is a glorious thing, and I'm probably going to put it over here somewhere. Just, forgot to mention, there are not going to be a ton of pictures in this. I just forgot to take pictures. There weren't a lot of suitors, which surprised me. You're not going to see a lot of suitors like me. And I did get some weird looks, and I'll get into that when I get to Saturday. But I didn't see a lot of pony suitors either, and that surprised me. Because I've seen a ton of pony suits, like on the internet, at other conventions, so I was really surprised we didn't get a lot of those. I did get a picture with someone as their OC, that as I'm pointing, I'm assuming I'm going to put that picture here in editing. I did see a Rainbow Dash, and that, I'm starting to think that might have been it. I do this and then I edit, so I will go through my pictures, and if I see another person in suit, I will put it in here, but I don't think I did. There just weren't, I think I would have counted them on one paw. They were just odd to me. But, we got our dinner, and I think Iona had a panel later that night, so I just kind of chilled in the hotel. And then I was going to show him Sing 2, because we both saw Sing in theaters. Illumination is not the best animation company. They are very D minus to me, but for some reason I like Sing. I like the Sing franchise. I do not know why. And the Super Mario Brothers movie was awesome. But other than that, their stuff is kind of subpar. Though yes, I will be seeing Migration in like a couple weeks. But I wanted to show him Sing 2 because I really liked it. I actually think I like it better than the first movie. So I fired the deck. Da 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 da. We start watching Sing 2, and it dims after 10 minutes. I was like, what, what the what? Why are you dimming? So I go into settings, settings, and it's set to dim at 10 minutes if there's no activity. And watching a movie doesn't count as activity for the Steam Deck anyway. It might be that way for any computer. I know it's like that for the Steam Deck when I first got it, over a year ago. This was back before I started locking my hair, and I had part of my hair routine was sitting in front of the Steam Deck for 45 minutes and deep conditioning my hair. And the first time I tried doing that, it did the same thing. It would dim. And it was just a matter of going into the battery settings and changing that. So I did that, and this is the original Steam Deck. I ordered the OLED the day before. I obviously don't have it for this convention. I had it for MFF. But I had the original LCD Steam Deck for Ciderfest. And so I go in there and change the settings, and the settings wouldn't stick. For whatever reason, either they just wouldn't change, or they would just immediately revert back. So we couldn't watch anything without constantly tapping my mouse or moving the trackpad. So we just gave up. I had no idea why it did that. The weird thing was, like, the beginning of October, I went to the Wisconsin Dells with my mom, just on vacation. And I showed her Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, because I will continue to show that movie to anyone that will sit still for 2 hours and 15 minutes, because that's still my favorite movie of the year. And I just bought it, and I will be watching it either tonight or tomorrow. But anyway, but I showed her that. I showed her one episode each of Cells at Work, and then Cells at Work Code Black. They were all on the original LCD deck. No issues. There were 0 issues with that. So I have no idea what happened and what happened to my set. It might have been an update for the deck. I don't know. But we just gave up because I just couldn't get it to work. And didn't do much else that night, just kind of crashed. And so Saturday rolls around, and I decide I'm going to suit today. I did take Alyss. I know my last video, I wasn't sure. I figured, why the heck not? If I see a couple other suitors, I might suit. And I think I literally saw a couple, like 2 other, like, non-pony suitors. So I decided to, suit up, and Iona and I went to the pony trivia panel, and people gave me weird looks, but people also gave me like, "Oh my God," looks. Like some people were super excited. And people were like, "What?" when I walked in. At one point, we're trying to find like a table and like a trivia team to join. I think Iona tried handing me something, and I had to like, cup it in my paws, and I'm like fumbling and bobbling with it, and everyone's laughing because I can't hold things with these. I mean, I can hold some things. That's what my channel is, holding things and showing them to you. But it's not easy. It's not an easy thing. We go on Pony Trivia. We find a team. I carry that team. I'm not just tooting my own horn. One of the guys like you were totally carrying this team, but there were plenty of things I didn't know. But we were like in second place until the final round. I think there were like 5 rounds total. When I usually do trivia, it's like 10 rounds. But the trivia I do that I usually like pay for, like charity events or whatever, those are usually 3 hours. This is an hour and a half, so you cannot do 10 rounds in an hour and a half. So we did the 5 rounds. The last round was all about like literature in the show, like a magazine that shows up in this episode, or the name of this book that Rainbow Dash read in this other episode. I don't know. I don't know the show that well. So, and from what it sounded like, that killed like most of the teams. It was like, well, we were doing, a lot of good teams were doing fairly well, and then that round happened, and it just wiped us all out. It was still a ton of fun. We came in fourth, and we might have tied with another team. So we did not come in last. No, we're even close. But I had fun. I don't care that we didn't win. It was a fun experience, and it was neat. Learning what other people knew about the show, and remembering things about the show because some of the questions like what why what see what no where did that come from? And to be fair, every question was from G4, so not this current gen, not Generation 5 or a new generation or whatever the heck they call it. And it was just the show, not the comics, not Equestria Girls, nothing else. So it was, if you would watch the show, you should have a pretty good chance. But again, a lot of fun. After that, Iona had to go back to Sailor Texas's table to help her with the vendor hall, or with her, vendoring. So I decided to go through the vendor hall again, just to get, not get an idea because I've already seen stuff, but I wanted to get a second look of it, about things. And this way, when I'm in suit, the artist ain't gonna know who I am. I always feel weird when I go to an artist one day and don't buy anything, and they go to that artist another day because I'm just rebrowsing and trying to figure out, what I want. It's better for me when I do this, when I just browse in suit, because you don't know who the heck I am. You don't know you don't know you saw me yesterday. So I did that a little bit. It was getting a better idea of what I wanted. There was one thing I wanted. I think they were D&D dice, like plush D&D dice, like a D20. That did sell out. I wasn't able to get that. I did contact the artist afterwards, but the price was higher on her Etsy, and shipping was pretty high. So I'm just going to hopefully wait till next year, and I can buy that in person. Also, pro tip, it's, it can be dangerous, but if you're going to a convention, it may be best to carry cash. So we learned the hard way that while virtually every artist I saw did take card as well as cash, card will get a fee. You'll have to pay a fee with it. So if your total is $150, or if whatever you're buying is $150, it might go up to $160 or something, depending on whatever tax it is in Milwaukee. So just you're paying that tax. With cash, they're less inclined to ask you for tax. So keep that in mind. Though I will say, and this I will probably repeat in my Midwest Fur Fest panel, if you are commissioning someone, pay with a card. Just that's, if something happens and they can't get things done or they ghost you, you have recourse. Remember, if you pay in cash, it is gone. So just keep that in mind. But again, if you are buying something right there in front of you and you are taking it with you, cash is fine. And it will make things cheaper. So in the long run, you'll be able to buy more stuff because you won't be paying tax at every turn. Something I didn't think about, and I still screwed up at MFF. But anywho, I did go through the dealer's den. And again, I hadn't bought much. I did buy things at the con store. I mentioned that, as well as the autograph voucher. There is one artist I see all the time. I did see him at MFF as well, and I worked with him on a voice acting project. He's one of my favorite artists. His name is Virastapor, or just VIW. I love him. He had these adorable pony-themed hand towels, which I guess they're hand towels. Yeah, they're not like face towels, not the squares. They're the kind of the long ones. But he had those in the main six. And it's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And it's useful. I saw them Friday, I bought them. I just bought them because he only had 3 of each. I was like, these are going to sell out. So I just bought the whole set. And you will obviously see those in the next video when I cover things I bought. But I think Saturday I didn't really buy much else. I think I did the suit. They had a D&D panel, I guess. Not really a panel, but like people playing D&D. So what happened at Anime St. Louis, what happened at KokoroCon. With KokoroCon, I didn't do a video for that. It's too small of a con. I believe I did one for Anime St. Louis. But they had one. I actually was going to sign up for it Friday. Completely forgot. And so I ran, when I remembered, like at 6 p.m. Friday, I ran to the tabletop room. I was like, oh my god, where's the sign up for D&D? Where is it? Oh god. And they're like, I don't think we have that. I think you just like show up. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did show, fast forward to Saturday again. I did show up, and there was, the DM obviously, but there was one other person just ready to play. It's like, oh, well, I'm set. I'll definitely get to play. We were able to wrangle 1, 2, 3, 4 other people, because the character, they're pre-made characters. We're not making our own characters. You don't have time to do that. Not for something like this. But we had pre-made characters, and they were all based on the characters from Gen 5. So, Sunny Star Scout Hitch Trailblazer, Pit Pedals, Zephyrina Storm or Zip Storm. I'm missing somebody. Izzy Moonbow, and then Misty Bright Dawn. That last character, unless you've watched Gen 5, you probably don't know who she is. I've shown you the others via, like, the Guardians pins. I explained who everybody was. You will see them again in the next video, because I bought at least a pin of each of those 6. The main 6 for Gen 5. So you will see them again. Misty Bright Dawn you haven't seen, because I don't think I've shown you any merchandise with her on it. Again, if you've seen the show, you know who she is. Just for the sake of this video, this is who she is. I will go find a picture of her from the internet, and I will put it here, so you know who she is. I highlight her because I played her when we did D&D. As you can see, she has very kinky curly hair, which I do too. You obviously can't see my hair in this suit, but you will. I have some videos of myself with the few suitors I saw, and so you'll see my baby locks basically. So we have similar hair. It makes me happy. There's actually one other character in Gen 5. She only showed up for the Bridalwood stock special. Her name is Ruby Jubilee. I think if I can find her, I will also put her here somewhere. She has locked hair, and I saw her design. I was like, oh, representation. I'm so happy. I haven't seen like anything like that in My Little Pony. First Misty, and then you give me someone with full locks. Bravo. Bravo, Gen 5. I'm not going to applaud you for many things because you are really messed up, but beyond that, bravo, Gen 5. So I got to play as Misty, who was the rogue. I've never played a rogue before. I was horrified. It was still a very fun session, though. Everybody got into their characters, including one guy who was playing Pit Pedals, who was kind of the prissy, influencer type, princessy type. Apparently he hasn't seen the show. His girlfriend had. He was here because of her. So he's just making it up on the spot, and he did an amazing Pip, despite not seeing the show and barely knowing who she is. With my Misty, if you've seen the show, she's a bit soft-spoken and quiet, but she still has kind of a determined attitude to her. I played her more like Fluttershy. If you can see the main 6 over there, which I'm pretty sure you can, that's why I put them over here, just to fill in space. Fluttershy is the yellow one over here. She has pink hair. It might be in front of her face again. I tried removing it. I don't know if I did. But I played her more like Fluttershy than Misty, but it's whatever. I did love the fact that people, had their own voices and really tried to get into their characters. That really makes D&D a lot more fun. If you're looking to play, is that required? No, absolutely not. You do not have to, put on a silly voice or anything like that. You do kind of have to get into your character's head, and that might not necessarily mean your head. I've mentioned that before with my what do you call it, Centaur Barbarian, Olena. She is 70 years old and has 10 kids. You're talking to someone who is, well, you're watching someone who is 38 and is militantly child free. So that's something I got to wrap my head around. But it's fine because I'm building a character and this character is telling me who she is and it's fun. So for the love of goodness, give yourself in if you ever play D&D for the first time. Just give yourself in. You don't have to do the silly voice, but really try and get in your character's head. It's a lot more fun that way. We went through like a dungeon to try and save Princess Schmerity. Some of this is based specifically on an episode of My Little Pony called Dungeons in Discord. I can't remember what season it is, but that is the title of the episode. And it's when the character Discord, who is on my leg, ends up playing Ogres and Oubliettes, obviously a play on Dungeons and Dragons, with Spike the Dragon, who is over here, and another character called Big Mac. I do have him as a plush, just not in this room. He is with the other Build-A-Bears. But a lot of it was based on the D&D campaign from that very episode, and it was hilarious. Like, every time the DN said something that was in that episode, we're just squealing because we're just fanning all over this show. But again, a lot of fun. I did take my smelly dice, my scented dice, the ones from Smelly Bones. I will subject everyone I meet to those dice. I do not care. I love it. I love those dice. I love seeing people's faces when they smell them because they do not expect to ever encounter dice that smell. And it's great. And people really, really like them. I also am going to go ahead and plug. I'll do it eventually when the dice come in. Smelly Bones did have a second campaign. It was a villain themed like batch. The campaign or the Kickstarter is done, but I'll go ahead and put that a picture of it up here. I'll probably link that in the description as well. They might have like pre-orders or something. I just want to throw that out there. But it was a lot of fun, and I do have a picture of the D&D group here. I should probably start using this side of the screen. There are two sides to this screen, but it'll probably be here, whatever. But I do have a picture of that group, and we had a lot of fun. That was from 2 to 6. I did have a few other panels that were in that space in case I couldn't make D&D, but D&D was the full 4 hours. After that, there was a plush, I think, meet. So by plush, just like plushie, stuffed animal. So come here, Discord. It was just a room where they had set up like a bunch of plushies, but it was extremely crowded, and they like formed essentially a line to go take pictures of all the plushies. There were also, I'm sorry I forgot about this, there were multiple suitors in that room, like some holding the plushies. So there were a bit more than I initially said in this video, because I'm just now remembering they were sitting there. There were like 4 of them. And the plushies were cute, and there was a great variety, but it's just this big line, and people they were kind of doing what they were doing at like where registration was when I was trying to register. That's what you do at registration, duh. I'm sorry, I'm very tired. But they're just kind of standing around and talking, so people would take pictures of the plushies on display, and it's like stand and talk about how great they are. And I was like, move so I can take a picture. I didn't say that to anybody, but in my head I'm like, guys, come on. So I just did one of these things where I hold my camera up and like just take pictures over people's heads. I'm like, okay, cool, done. I gotta go get food. That's all I could really do. It doesn't work very well, especially when you were 5'2". But it's whatever. I got a few pictures. I'll put them throughout here. After that, I had another plushie panel at I think 7. So Kei-chan, Sailor Texas, and I went to dinner. They sent Iona to the sponsor dinner. He is not a sponsor, but he took one of their spots. And so we went to the Miller Pub just because it was there. It is in the hotel, and it's not the other one that will cost you an arm and a butt. So I went ahead and got, I think it was like a BLT wrap. Up here, maybe, somewhere. Maybe here. I don't care. It was pretty good. It was actually really filling. And I had cheese curds like most of the weekend, and I regretted that when I went back to Weight Watchers the next week, because I gained like 5. Between this con and Thanksgiving, I gained like 5 pounds. I'm very sad. So, and then I just had another convention, so this coming week with Weight Watchers, I'll figure out where the heck I'm at. But yeah, I did not need all of those cheese curds. They were good cheese curds. I'm not saying they were bad, but I did not need them. I did have them at the Avenue Bar and Grill as well as Miller Pub that last night. After that, and again, the food just took so darn long. They were pretty busy, but the food just took a really long time. After that, I went to meet Iona at the Plush Appreciation Panel. It was headed by Rubio Wolf, and there was another plushie maker. I can't remember their name, but they were just showing like different plushies they had made, some other people had made. They showed plushies of like what they did from, let's say 2016 to 2019, and like the same plush or like the same character. So they made like Lyra Heartstrings, in 2016, and then they made Lyra's Heartstrings a year ago, and just to show like the progress. I've seen that on the furry subreddit where people will do like their before and after, or like, I started here and now I'm here, just to show your progress, and it looked really cool. It was also very encouraging, I guess, because when I was making this, where's his face? I don't know where his face is. When I was making Discord, I was getting discouraged because things weren't going well. I ended up sewing his stupid tail like 3 times. I had to sew his wings 3 times. No, twice for his wings. And again, one of these are still backwards. There were a lot of things I messed up on this plush, and I just, I'd get done with it, and I'd stuff it, and I just realized something was like, I just realized something was wrong. I was like, no! And I would think to myself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself? How is this worth it? And listening to them, it was Rubio Wolf who said, best advice, just keep going. Just keep doing it. You are going to mess up. It's gonna happen. And this is not just with sewing. This is with any hobby, any creative hobby. So it could be making music. It could be drawing. It could be crochet or knitting or, writing. If any of those things aren't going to be completely perfect, and that's okay. The important thing is you're learning from it. And I learned quite a bit from this plush, as well as Gallus, who's down there. So I really appreciated that. I also asked some questions on, like, machines they may use and how to do certain things. I also asked them about hair. And that's when I brought up, like, Misty Bright Dawn, because I think Rubio did one as well. I'm not sure about the other artists, but they did a plush of Misty's hair. And her hair, as you saw, is very unique. It's, a lot curlier than what you would normally see. I wanted to know how to do that. I also want to know how to do locks. And to be fair, I have done locks on a plush before. Akina over here. I didn't make this one. This is the one from, what's her name? Budsies. Yeah, I already did a video on Budsies. It was not a very positive video. but the point being, this character has locks. And I actually have made a plush for Akina, nowhere near this big, but I will show a picture of it, somewhere around here. So I've done locks before, but I've never done just curly hair like Misty has, or the locks that Ruby Jubilee has, because they do not look similar. Akina's locks look very different from Jubilee's. So they suggested like yarn, for instance. A lot of people use yarn. There may be other ways to do it as well. I took these to heart. But it was a really good panel. I really enjoyed it. And after that, I believe I only had another panel, and we kind of crashed after that, and this was Saturday night. This is also at the time where I discovered that nasty stain in my bedspread, which is gross. Ugh, we're almost done, folks. I have no idea how long this video is. I'm sure it's like 7 hours. Anyway, Sunday rolls around. We start off with Brony Church. Yes, we are finally at that first part of the title of this video. Brony Church is run by Fiara Tank Girl. And I've seen this panel before at the Crystal Fair. The Crystal Fair was a very, very small convention, like My Little Pony convention in the St. Louis area. It might have gotten maybe 50 people over one day. It was a one-day con. It has not happened since COVID. Sailor, Texas, and Karen are both friends with the person who used to run it. And it sounds like the person is trying to bring it back. They've since had a baby since COVID, so that's going to take up a lot of their time. It's also very expensive to start a convention, even one that small. But it sounds like they're trying to bring it back. I really hope they do, because I'd love to see the people at the Crystal Fair again. But the last time I was there, Fiara did her panel at that convention. She did it virtually. She wasn't able to go there in person. But for Ciderfest this year, she was there in person. She did quite a few. I think she said she like 7 or 8 panels. But I love this one, and it's contrary to how it sounds. It's not. It has nothing to do with like Christianity or anything like that. No, but it is very heavy. It's a very heavy panel, unlike the Plush appreciation panel or some of the there were rarity appreciation panel. There was a Starlight appreciation panel. There were a lot of fun, goofy panels like Brony reacts that some of these I didn't go to. I know they existed, but they're supposed to be fun, lighthearted panels. This is not. This is not really anything like that. This is Fiara talking about very heavy topics that happen to show up in the show, like the actual Gen 4 My Little Pony show. And these topics can range from, I'm sorry, I'm going to just say trigger warning right now, you know, taking someone's life. I don't know if I can say the S word on YouTube. I have no idea what YouTube algorithms do. But, taking one's life, people, a child, the child of a divorce trying to decide where they're going to live, the 5 stages of grief. In that particular case, the character in question was not dying. They were hibernating. It was a pet. But their owner was still going through the 5 stages of grief because they had to, they're going to eventually lose their pet for, 3 months. Obviously, hibernation and death are not the same thing, but remember, this is deep down a kid's show. So they made it so they could talk about this very serious topic, but still relate it in a way that kids could understand, and honestly, that adults enjoyed. And heck, I enjoyed that episode, and it was about stupid Rainbow Dash, but I still enjoy that episode. There were a lot of other really heavy topics like depression, and one of the examples was, the episode's Party of One, the season 1, I believe it's episode 25, and Pinkie Pie, you might not be able to see her, she's probably buried in the back, but Pink Pony, a very, very excitable pony, was trying to, have a party for her pet alligator Gummy, don't ask. But her friends kept coming up with excuses not to go, and she finally cornered Spike, who is, you can see, he is in the front, unless he fell on the floor, but Purple Dragon over there. She cornered him and, basically interrogated him like a police officer. Why are you, why aren't you telling me what's going on? Da 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 da. At one point, Spike is like, I don't know what you want from me. What do you want me to say? And she's like, I want you to tell me that my friends are lying to me and they don't want to be my, they don't like my parties, they don't want to be my friends anymore. And so he repeats that verbatim to her because that's what she said he wanted to hear. And she immediately spirals into depression. And the point being, what you want to hear isn't always best. That's not really what you want for someone who's dealing with, very real depression. I really enjoyed that episode. It's all about talking things out and talking to people and sharing your concerns. Another episode and another issue that she talked about was bottling up anger and not expressing it in a healthy way. There's an episode called All Bottled Up in a latter season that deals with Starlight as well as a character called Trixie, where Starlight literally bottles up her anger because she's mad at Trixie but doesn't want to tell her because she's afraid it'll hurt her feelings. She's afraid she'll lose her as a friend. And Fiara was talking about how you see how that happened. You see how that went. If you want to know, Google the darn episode. There is a a site called Yay Ponies. Just Google Yay Ponies pony episode. It has all of the episodes from Gen 4 and beyond. So if you want to see what I'm talking about, you can go find it all bottled up and you can watch it. And she talked about how much better it is when you just tell someone what's on your mind instead of holding it in, because eventually you will either explode. It will either hurt others or you might hurt yourself, but either way, it's destructive. It's not helpful for you. One that always gets me is when she brings up the holidays, and this was right before Thanksgiving. And she asked us, do you know where your friends are going for Thanksgiving? Do your friends have places to go? Which I personally know, my close friends, I do have, family to spend time with. But she said no, everybody has that. And I'll give you, spoiler warning for this episode, but it's called the Hearthwarming Club. It's, I believe, either season 7 or 8, because it's after the Young Six come onto the scene. But the Young Six, again, are, 6 young creatures that become friends within the show, and they are all different species. One pony, but 5 non-ponies. And in the episode, they're talking about their different holiday traditions, just to emphasize not everybody celebrates the same way. Not everybody has the same holiday or the same traditions. And it was a beautiful episode. But what you find out at the end is one of the characters doesn't have a family. He doesn't have anyone to spend time with. And that's really heartbreaking and made worse so because it's very true. You know, I'm just going to use the word suicide rates skyrocket during the holidays, especially Christmas. And it's because people don't have anywhere to go. Fiara herself said they lost a friend who drank himself to death because, they thought he would just come and talk to them whenever he had issues. And he ended up dying. And so she said, seriously, know where your friends are. No, and that sounds kind of creepy, but you know what I'm saying. Make sure they have a place to go. If they don't, offer them your couch or whatever you may have. Even if they say no, you did ask, you did offer. So I won't go into the whole panel, but those are the type of topics that we were talking about. And you could hear sniffles throughout the rooms because it touched a lot of people. I thank Fiara for her time. Also, sidebar with the pony interrogation with Pinkie Pie. That also shows up in a John Oliver episode. The main segment is police interrogation. And the very same clip that Fiara used was the same clip that John Oliver used. So that's just a little fun fact. But, I am always grateful for this. I feel like I got more from that church than I ever did when I was part of an actual, Christian church, to be perfectly honest. I'm not even joking. And it got real when a gentleman in the back said that he needed this panel. Because we have been talking about, 2 separate episodes that involved suicide. I'm just going to keep using the actual word. And unfortunately, I forgot A Rock Cliff and a Hard Place is one of them, and it was done a bit better in that one. The other one involved Trixie and Trixie you can't see, but Starlight and the character Trixie when they first meet. And I can't remember the name of that episode, but you can look it up. We talked about those 2 episodes, and this gentleman in the back said that he really needed this panel because his mother had taken her life 2 weeks prior. And immediately, some guy just yells, "Give that man a hug." And it wasn't the goofy way people would say that. It was the legit, someone needs to hug that man. Someone needs to make sure he knows that he is loved and he is supported. And I'm starting to tear up in this suit, which is not good because I won't be able to see. But that is the kind of panel this is. And I love that panel to death. I will never get tired of hearing Fiara's take on these heavy topics in this supposed kids show. So, yeah, that was the beginning of Sunday. And, we checked out around noon. And the only other thing I had to do, I did go back and do my final bit of shopping. And again, I will cover everything I shot, or everything I bought in the next video. The only other thing I had on my plate was a charity auction. Because like furry conventions, My Little Pony conventions also have charity auctions. I believe the Wisconsin Humane Society was the charity of choice this year, and so here we go. I actually did win some officially licensed Sea Pony merch. I will set a picture of them up here. For the sake of I'm talking about them and I won them in the auction. I will show them here. I won't wait till the next video to show you those. They're actually kind of cute. I was impressed. It was like $70. So yay, $70 went to the charity. But this charity was insane in terms of scale. I believe over this weekend they ended up with about 1,300 attendees, and the charity, or we raised just for the charity auction alone, nothing else. Ponyville Ciderfest raised $100,000 for the Wisconsin Humane Society, which is absolutely insane. Again, 1,300 people were at this event, and some change. I will say that I think I do prefer the host from Midwest Fur Fest, and I will definitely get into that in that video. But it was still a lot of fun. We still had some good hosts. I wasn't super familiar with these hosts because, again, I haven't been to Ponyville Ciderfest since 2016 or Winnie City since 2018, and they are owned by the same people. But I really loved it. They had a lot of interesting art for sale. They had a lot of really beautiful, one-of-a-kind handmade stuff. They have stuff, like random stuff that people donate. That's always fun. The voice actors actually appear. Kelly Sheridan and I believe Bill something. I think he plays Bright Mac in the show, Applejack's father. They could not be there Sunday. They announced that ahead of time, so they let people know if you want their autograph, do not wait till Sunday because they won't be there. So those two had to leave, but all the other voice actors were there. There was a woman named Diana who voices, I think, Saffron Masala in the regular Gen 4 show. She also voices a character in the Equestria Girls, and I hate the Equestria Girls more than life itself. Just for clarification, one, it shows the ponies in as humans. I didn't ask for that. I love ponies as ponies. I don't want to see them as humans. Two, I'm really sick and tired of high school drama BS plots. I really don't like that. The ponies you see are young adults. They all have their own lives. They have responsibilities. They all have jobs. I guess Twilight is maybe a scholar, maybe like a PhD student. But the others, are part of or run businesses. So seeing them in high school, don't care. I don't want to see that. Nothing against the voice actress, though. She does a great job, and she does voice Saffron Masala in the pony, part of the show. And Saffron Masala is cute, and I love her. But Diana was there. There was a Giles Payton. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He plays a character named Flash Magnus. There was another guy there. I can't remember who he played. Unfortunately, I feel bad. And then there was like a writer guy there. But also there was Ellie Ray. I think Hennessy is her last name, but Ellie Ray was what they billed her as. This woman plays a character named Miss Main in Gen 4. Miss Main is one of the pillars, the early pillars of Equestria. I'm not going to go into that whole thing, but she is an older looking pony. That's the character. And Ellie Ray is a more seasoned voice actress, an older voice actress. She also plays, if you've seen Gen 5 Winter Wish Day, she plays Grandma Figgy. So she tends to play like grandmotherly characters. And Miss Main is this very like wise sounding, sweet grandmother type. That's the character. Ellie Ray, the voice actress, is not that. She is not that. I mean, she is sweet. She's a very sweet woman. But the calm demeanor, no. And I'd never met this voice actress before this weekend. And I went to get my autograph from, Sheridan, so I didn't go up to Ellie Ray. But, she was at the charity auction with all the other voice actors. And she, for those of you who've seen My Little Pony, this woman is Pinkie Pie on steroids. And I checked Wikipedia. She is 71 years old. She does not act that way in the least. She's like a 15-year-old just bouncing off the wall. She was all over the place. I dearly wish I had shot video of her. I can show you pictures of her, but you can find that on the internet. God, I wish I'd taken video of this one because she was just so energetic and so just all over the place, just being as encouraging as she could. She's come on, guys, this is for charity, that type of thing. Like the other voice actors, you could tell they were having fun. You could tell that they enjoyed being there. But this woman has bought in to this fandom and probably others because she voiced, they all voice characters from different shows besides My Little Pony. But she is in it. I could just tell she was in it. She even made this very interesting sculpture that I will probably put up here that, she just made it for the charity and just signed it. But there were a lot of beautiful things for sale. Like I said, one-of-a-kind piece of art, some that light up. There's one of Chrysalis with like Twilight in the background for some reason that I really wanted, but it went really, really high. Another thing they had were original scripts, like from the actual show, like original production scripts with production notes and everything. Those were for sale. I guess they've been sent there by, like Hasbro or whatever. Those went for thousands of dollars, like with an S, ranging I think 2 to 8 or 9 thousand per season. And I think they had the script for the movie, like the My Little Pony movie, and I think like 2017 or something. And they might have had one or two from like the Equestria Girls, maybe, I can't remember. I might show you a picture of one of the, it's just stacks of paper, so there's not really much to say. But, those went for thousands of dollars. This is why they hit that 100K mark. The very last thing was this year's banner, like just, the banner of the convention, for this year. And I will go ahead and show this guy over here, because this guy bid 10K on that banner alone. 10K was from that guy, and actually more than 10K was from that guy, because he bid on multiple things and won in the past, and these were higher dollar items. Another thing he did was they had a hat that they were auctioning off. I don't remember the story behind the hat, but whoever won the bid, whoever won that bid got the hat. But they were going to take the hat beforehand and pass it around the attendees of the charity auction, and you can put in money. All money went to the charity. So if you bid and won the hat in the auction, you will keep the hat, but any money they raise is straight to the charity. And that same guy, who I'll put over here somewhere, he announced that whatever money was collected in that hat, he will triple it. And I believe they collected $700 and some change. So we'll say 700 for the sake of easy math. So times 3 is $2,100 right there for the charity. Things went really high. I mean, I got my $70. There was a good range. There was a good range of prices, but a lot of things went super high. And there were some individuals like that guy and a few others. I might show another guy because I do remember him from time to time. They bid a lot. They didn't like sweep everything. Like, a decent amount of people got a decent amount of things. So it's not like one person just took everything. But they took quite a few, and these are not cheap items. I was wondering, oh my God, people, what do you do? What do you do for a living? You clearly have more money than I will make in my career at IDOT. You might have more money than God. But it doesn't even matter as long as they are willing to be generous, as long as all of us are willing to be generous to this charity and to any other charity that comes toward us. It's a lot. And the head of the charity was there. They let her say some words, and she could barely do that because she was just overcome. Because in the span of the charity auction was supposed to be 2 hours, and they went 2 hours over. So, because they just had so much stuff. So 4 hours. But in the span of 4 hours, her charity gained $100,000. That is mind-boggling. That's absolutely mind-boggling. And not everyone at the con was at the charity auction. Some people, vendors were still, vending and whatnot, and taking down. And other people just might not have been interested. My friend Iona didn't actually go to the charity because he knew he couldn't bid on anything. But, not even the full group, the full convention was there. They still raised that much money. It's crazy, but it's a beautiful thing because it's going toward a fantastic cause. And this is one of the major reasons why I go to charity auctions every single con, regardless of what it is. Usually, it's the furry cons because I haven't been able to go to pony cons. I was just invited by friends, so I was able to kind of go with a group and also split costs. But I love that because it's a lot of fun. The hosts are usually very entertaining, and the money's going to a terrific cause. And I think Ellie Ray made it even crazier because she was just, again, all over the place. At one point, she was anointing people who won auctions with glitter. She's like, I will anoint. So she's like, she was offering / threatening people with anointing them with glitter. So I think I have a picture of her anointing a guy who's like just kneeling on the ground while she just puts glitter on his face. That woman is fantastic, and I love her. She is a treasure. But, the auction again went really well, and throughout this, I'm going to show a variety of things that they had. It went so long, though, that they just crashed right into the closing ceremonies. We weren't planning on staying for that. We were going to leave after the charity auction, and the charity auction was supposed to be, actually, it was supposed to be 5:30 to 5:30. So I'm sorry, it was 3 hours. It was supposed to be 3 hours. It got done at like 6:30 ish, 7, something like that. So it was still longer than it should have been. And the closing ceremonies were just in the same room, so they just went ahead and launched into that. They also took a last minute donation for people, and they were going to do a photo to commemorate this year. And part of that was the fact that they had raised so much money. If you aren't familiar with PonyCons, the biggest and most famous one was BronyCon, and I believe it was maybe in like New Yorkish or something, like the Northeast, I think. Wait, crap. Just say the East. Don't just say the East, all right? Because I don't know directions, but like around New York, that area. It was a huge convention for My Little Pony lovers, and its last year was 2019. And in its tenure, the most it gained in 1 year was I think 73,000, something like that. So initially, when we were doing the charity auction, we were trying to break that goal. And they were keeping track of it in real time. You could see it on the board, how much we had raised. And we smashed that record. As I said, we hit 100K. Even though we smashed the record, people were still super generous and were still donating a lot. So at the end of it, they had said if you donate $5, you can be in our picture where we commemorate this event. So I donated the money. It was going to be taken after the closing ceremony, so we had to wait for after the closing ceremonies. But again, the auction took so long that the closing ceremonies were just kind of right there. So they had their announcements. They did a little skit, and I completely forgot to mention this because I didn't participate. The whole theme of this year was an interactive story adventure. And what they did was they had a bunch of different artists from the community write little stories. I think there are about 300 plus stories, total over 900,000 words written. And they placed them like in areas all over the con. There were little pillars with pictures of characters, and they had a hashtag. And you're supposed to put the hashtag in the app, which is actually still on my phone, specifically a Ciderfest app. You put the hashtag in there, and there's a little story in there. And at the end, you decide what you want to happen. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure game. Or I'm sorry. Well, that works, but like a choose your own adventure book. I don't know how many of you were into Goosebumps when you were younger. You know that's my era. I'm a '90s kid, so I was a huge fan of Goosebumps, and they had some of the choose your own adventures where you get to a bottom of a page and you either choose to go to this page or that page to continue your story. It was kind of like that. The way it was described, I didn't really understand it, so I didn't really participate. I am sorry. That's why I forgot to talk about it this entire time. I didn't participate. And so, yeah, I can't really remark on that. I feel bad about that because I wish I could tell you all about it and how cool it was because it sounded like everybody enjoyed it. And I guess there were 3 different factions that you could choose to be. One was Team Heroes, which I think was run by Twilight. There was a Discord, or a Chaos, which is obviously run by Discord. He is the Lord of Chaos on the show, so that makes sense. And like Team Villain, which I think was like in charge, King Sombra was in charge or whatever. And they had people dressed up as the 3 mascots from Ciderfest, so Barley Tender, Caramel Malt, and Fizzy Glitch, who is newer. Again, you will see her in the next video. I have a plush of her that I pre-ordered. But they had other various people that were dressed as different characters. I guess wandering around and helping with the interactive experience. One of which was Zecora. I think I have shown you Zecora before at least once. She was in the Ponytail Pride campaign. The person who played her in their interactive thing was amazing. I will show you a picture of her because she's absolutely stunning. We had a conversation. She and another woman and they're both black like me. Had a conversation about. I told her how awful, how wonderful she looked, and then I lamented how terrible they wrote Zecora, and then we had a little complaint session about how badly they wrote Zecora in the show, as well as Spike, who's over there somewhere. I hope, or I knocked him over. That is something else I forgot to mention. One of the vendors was Afro Thunder's Wonders, or Afro Thunder. I've seen her before in several other conventions. She does a lot of buttons. I will most certainly show you some of her merch in the next video because I bought 6 buttons from her. I actually have some buttons from her in the past, and I have a cute little pin I'll also show you that she gave me. And she is also a black woman. She's been in the fandom, well, she's been in the furry fandom as well for like years as well. But she's been in the MLP fandom for a while, and she's like, Back then they were like you could count the number of black people like one hand. But I was able to speak with her about a lot of different, things about My Little Pony, things about the furry fandom, and just general maybe issues with both, especially when it comes to race. We were also able to talk to Mad Shy. I think Mad Shy was just an attendee at the time, or at Ponyville Ciderfest, but I bought things from her as well. I might see if I can get some pictures of the things I bought from her in here. But all three of us were black women. We all had a long discussion about the issues with race, how it is written in certain things, especially My Little Pony, because they tried, but it's not perfect by any means. The way some characters were written, like Sakura, also like Spike, and yeah, just general discussion that I really enjoyed. And I did get a picture of the three of us together, and I love that. There was no BIPOC or POC panel at Ciderfest. I don't know if there ever has been, but there wasn't one this year, and I kind of wish there was. I'm sure somebody was saying, "Well, that just causes further divide." No, not really. It's nice to have that space where you can speak with like-minded people, and I I enjoyed the conversations I had with those two ladies as well as a few others, and I kind of hope there are other opportunities for that in the future. I'm sorry I got sidetracked. We were talking about the closing ceremony. Oh, because I brought up Sakura, who was part of the interactive thing. And I think they were, tallying in the background all the choices everybody picked. Team Chaos won, so yeah, where are you, Discord? Yeah, Discord. I'm just going to let Discord flail in front of the camera. Which, again, didn't play. Didn't get it, didn't participate. But yay, I guess, for Team Chaos. They did also announce the theme for the next year, which was Creativity Unleashed. It sounds like it might be a sequel of some sorts to what they did this year. Not really sure. But we'll see in 2024. I believe that's also going to be their 10th year as a con, or this year was the 10th year. I'm not really sure. Either way, they're going to go back to their original convention, like, space, that hotel, whichever one it was. I can't remember. They did mention it. I don't remember what they said. Which, again, makes me happy because I was not happy with the Hilton in Milwaukee. So, yeah, that was pretty much the con. That was the closing ceremonies. We took the picture. I believe I do have that. I had Iona take it for me. They probably also posted it on, like, Twitter or whatever, but I don't have Twitter, so I can't see it. They probably also posted the Discord, but it should be on my phone, so whatever. But got that picture done, and then we were able to leave. I think I grabbed like McDonald's on the way back or whatever, and Iona had eaten something like beforehand. So we had our very long 4-hour drive. You had good conversation and everything before that. It was a good drive down. It's just 4 hours. And yeah, we parted ways. He just parked his car into my garage while we were gone just to keep it safe. And I came home and I immediately died. And I spent I think the next week just catching up on things. I took that Monday and Tuesday off, and I'm honestly thinking about taking tomorrow off as well because I'm way behind with things I need to catch up on. But yeah, that was Ponyville Ciderfest as far as I can remember because I've got MFF in my head. But it was a fantastic weekend. I am so happy I went. I got a lot of cool stuff. I met some really cool people, and I had some really great experiences. I'm also glad I was there to make, as part of their making history. We have now raised more money than any other My Little Pony convention on the planet. I know there's not a ton of conventions. There were more in the past. There's fewer now, but there definitely are some that exist. TrotCon is still around. Everfree Northwest is still around. I believe Winnie City is again owned by the same group as Ponyville Ciderfest. It is also still around. I don't know if I mentioned Everfree more, but I think I did. There are a few others that I can't think of right now, but there are still definitely PonyCons around the world. Not BronyCon, but there are others. So, okay, it may not be a huge contest, but that's still a crap ton of money that we raised. And because BronyCon doesn't exist anymore, they will never, they'll never overtake us because they don't exist anymore. But yeah, I loved it. I would honestly recommend going if you could. I know a lot of people, this is mainly, well, my channel is just an unboxing channel. Half the stuff I unbox has nothing to do with either ponies or furries. I will say, though, that especially going back to a brony convention after all this time, there are so many similarities between bronies and furries. I know that there are people there are bronies that really hate furries, and there are furries that really hate bronies. And there's quite a few of us who are in both camps. And I just kind of want to say we are very similar. We really are very similar in terms of grouping. I'm not saying that, so I'm not saying you have to join the bronies if you are a furry or vice versa. Nothing like that. But it's just a beautiful thing to see. People getting together, enjoying their own interests, even though with My Little Pony it's clearly based on an existing IP and one IP, whereas with the furries, there is no one central IP that we're following. It's just anthropomorphic animals. It's just an idea, but we're really similar, and we need to get together more. We need to collaborate more, especially since both groups clearly care a lot about charity because they donate a lot of money to a variety of charities. Ah, I'm pretty sure this movie or this video is like 7 hours long at this point, so I need to edit and upload and also find dinner somewhere. I'm really feeling like a meatball sub. Not just that, not just this video, but I have a bunch of other things I have to do to catch up. But anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this recap of Ponyville Ciderfest 2023. I very much enjoyed doing it. I'm sure I forgot a bunch of stuff. That's okay. No one's gonna know except me. You guys know the drill. If you like what I do, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. You guys know what the next video is. It is going to be swag. All of the swag. I'm pointing this way because the swag is over there in that corner. You can't see it, but I know where it is. That's why I'm pointing in that specific corner. But all of the Ponyville Ciderfest swag will be debuted. Next video, that will not be fun because there's going to be a lot of pictures to edit for me. But we'll see. We'll see what you guys think. And there might be some things that are so big I won't need to take pictures of them. But yeah, until then, it's December 4th. I'm tired, but November is over. I am done flailing for a while. And I still got a banquet from my union and a work banquet and some other thing. Christmas is coming up, but I'm not flying all over the place anymore, so I can take a rest, kind of. This also means I'm going to get back into videos, as you see. So, until my next video of Ponyville Ciderfest swag, I will talk to you guys later. So, good night.